notified.
And there was also some suggestions, and there was a lot of it was very suggestive in some of the stuff that came out in the online publication, Catholic publication, about suggesting that even that you might have had some kind of relationship or special relationship with Father Wehmeyer. You reached out to him after his arrest. Did you do that, and if so, why?
No, I had dinner with Father Wehmeyer 3 times over a period of 3 years. The first one was the night that I blessed the new altar. He invited me into the rectory to have dinner after that ceremony. The second one was after a year later, after he'd been appointed pastor, he was arrested for DUI, and I called him as I call priests that have problems or are sick, and I asked him how he was doing. He said, well, he's going stir crazy. And I said, well, I'll pick you up and take you out to dinner. And I did that. And then he reciprocated, I think 6-8 months later, by taking me to a restaurant of a fellow that he knew who owned the restaurant. So I don't think it was a special relationship. I was dealing with him as the Archbishop to another priest.
And how about after he was arrested, did you make efforts to reach out to him?
I did not, know.
Okay, so that's wrong.
That's wrong. That's just
wrong.
Categorically wrong, yes.
Why do you think this is, what do you think of the whole situation that's occurred over the past few months? I mean, what would you like people to know? Because I think it's raised a lot of questions, raised a lot of doubts. I know that there are a lot of people who strongly believe in you and the church who feel that there's been a terrible wrong that's been done. I mean, what would you like people to know?
I would like people to know that I'm a decent human being, that I strive every day. I get up, I say my prayers, I try to do the best I can to be the Archbishop of this large metropolitan area, to be an example to them and to lead them to a better place. My idea of a priest or a bishop is he's the bridge between God and his people. And I want to be that bridge. I don't want to be a distraction, but rather a bridge to help people to get to know God and God to know them.
Will you be making the Green Espal report public, and will you also be making any contracts you have with Green Espal public?
Well, that's out of my jurisdiction. When I asked for that investigation, I said that I gave the authority to Bishop Bechet to do that, and I was told not to interfere. So I haven't interfered with that investigation at all. So what's going to happen now, I don't know. I'm as anxious as you to find out what's going to happen, but I don't know.
All right. And have you read the Green Espal report?
I have.
Okay. What does it conclude?
Well, again, I don't think it would be proper for me to comment on that in any way.
Right. One of the things that's most troubling, and it's coming to light again now, is because of a change in the state law that allows people to sue beyond the statute of limitations. So some of these older cases are coming and
Correct.
Really, being a new light is being shed on them. And I think amongst the most troubling is this repeated transfers of priests. Many of them happened many, many years ago, perhaps into the 90s. It's very disturbing, I think, for many people to see that kind of pattern. Can you guarantee Catholics out there, or anybody who goes to a Catholic school who may not be Catholic, who comes in contact with priests, that will not happen again?
Now, I don't understand the question completely.
Well, I guess
priests.
It's you have these cases that are coming to light. We've got a lot of cases that are coming up now that really occurred years ago,
Yes.
where you had priests being reassigned from parish to parish after complaints, and and then the abuse kept happening, and it kept happening and kept happening and kept happening,
Right.
and there are a lot of people who are hearing these things now. And it's very difficult for them to hear that. Can you guarantee that what you're talking about now will ensure that won't happen again?
Well, I certainly hope so. I am reluctant to say never, never, never. But we are doing everything in our power right now to make sure that anyone who has an allegation against him, that allegation is, if it's not frivolous, goes directly to the police and they determine the credibility of that allegation. And then we follow up on that. And if a person has abused a minor, and that is proven, that person is out of the priesthood.
But even if there's an allegation, I know this is a difficult area. I mean, what's been troubling is how you've handled the allegations, I think, or not you personally, but the church in the past.
Right.
And even the Holy Father has said has issued some of the strongest statements ever issued by the Catholic Church on this, saying that anybody who's either covered something up or ignored it, that is completely inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, I want people to know that I've never covered up any clergy abuse, and I will not. And so people, I would hope that they would believe that that's true. As I indicated in the beginning of this interview, we're at a better place now, I think, to deal with any kind of clerical misconduct.
How about,
you have 5 minutes.
okay, thank you. How about dealing with the gray areas? Because this is tough. I mean, you've got people who are good people, your priests who are out there, and you've got an accusation. It's a tough area.
It is,
I
it
mean,
is. And every situation is different.
Every situation is different. How about that?
Well, I think we have to look at those situations, and we have developed a protocol by which we can look at those situations and we can make that determination.
When you look at the body of a lot of the stuff that's come out, you kind of get the impression that the Catholic Church is more concerned about protecting its priests, many of whom obviously have done many great things in their life, even if they've done some bad things, as opposed to protecting those that it serves.
Well, I think, again, you have to keep a proper perspective on this. The majority of these cases go back to the 1970s and early part of the 80s. The track record since then among priests has been pretty good, I think, that they haven't offended. And this is only part of what is a real national problem. You know, it doesn't just involve priests, but it involves people in family situations, it involves school teachers and coaches and that sort of thing. So it's a part of a bigger problem for our society.
Right. You know, going back to the issue of resignations, obviously you feel that you have a mission to do, that you feel that you've put good things in place. Do you think it would be better for the Archdiocese if you did resign just with a completely clean slate?
I don't think so, because I think we have the momentum going now. If I were to resign at this point, that would be a break in that momentum. I think we are moving ahead. We've seen progress, and I hope we're going to see more progress to come.
What would you say to anybody who is concerned, uncertain, maybe wavering in their Catholic faith right now because of this situation, because of all the publicity?
Well, I would express my deep regret that all of this has happened, and I would ask them to be confident of the fact that while the Church is made up of sinners, it is a holy institution, and it's particularly around the Eucharist that is the center and source of our strength and our nourishment, that they would be close to the Lord in His Eucharistic presence.
In terms of anybody who's strayed, I mean, you know, there are a lot of people who've left.
Well, and that's unfortunate, and I would invite them to take a second look at the Church.
How about the releasing of the files that obviously Jeff Anderson's been pushing for? Why don't you do that?
Well, those files are not just personnel files, those are priest files. And we will release any file on any priest who has misconduct against him. But it would be an invasion of the privacy of these priests to just turn those files over altogether.
What has this been like for you personally?
It's been painful, I must say, it's been painful. But throughout it all, I've had some really solid support. And I tell people I pray harder than I've ever prayed before in my life. The Psalms have become something that just jump off the page to me, you know, and I rely on the help of the Lord to be able to do my job and to do it well.
1 minute.
I think we've covered a lot of areas. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to say?
I don't think so. I think you've been pretty thorough.
Okay.